בית הדפוס. אחד הדברים. הנה אפילו יצא פה מישהו. Hi, good afternoon.
Belonging into a printing office. And in the 1830s, most of the work would be printing books. So books would be 80% of everything we did. The other 20% is anything else. So today it's some of the anything else.
You mean newspaper, etc.? The 20%?
You can't get rid of a newspaper. Can't get anybody to buy it. Can't get anybody to advertise.
Okay,
So who's going to pay for it?
I see. Books, it's more important.
Books travel the world. They don't have to stay local.
Right. With book you can skip time and distance.
And if it sells well, you change a line on page 4 to second printing and you do it all again. And nobody complains that what they find on page 19 this month is what they found on page 19 last month.
Yes.
Newspapers are all fine and good, but
Nice.
you have to be an international seaport or county seat or have a large enough population that people are willing to advertise.
Right.
So you happen to be in Worcester County, 53 towns in 1838,
It's not enough.
30 newspapers started, 1840,
Only 5.
not good odds. You get too much invested in the equipment and the personnel to produce something you can't get rid of.
By the way, you see it today.
2022, newspapers are having a hard time.
Yes.
1838, newspapers were having a hard time.
Yeah.
The New York Sun, which is a daily newspaper in the international seaport of New York, in 1838, they bragged they could sell an issue of that newspaper on the street corners of New York for 1 cent. Trouble is, it costs 6 cents to produce it.
Okay, I see. Not economical.
If you wish to do a newspaper, and we can't convince you otherwise, I give you some suggestions. 1, marry for money. Then you can do anything you like.
Yes.
That didn't work. 2, win the lottery. And we've had lotteries in Massachusetts since the 1600s, so that's nothing new.
Okay. And the third?
Aim at a particular audience, like the Maine Farmer and Journal of the Useful Arts.
Okay.
It had 3 ads in it, but what paid for it was subscribers that were farmers trying to find out some other way of making a living from what the poor land was given to them by God.
I see. Interesting.
2022, I had a gentleman come in and says, I read a newspaper all the time. I said, really? Do you have a subscription? He said, no, I read the one at Dunkin' Donuts. Okay.
Yeah, I see.
1838, I read the one in the tavern. They only get upset if you fall asleep underneath it.
No.
So newspapers are all fine and good, but somebody's got to pay the bills.
Yes, always. No free meals.
No. So when we're not doing books, we do anything else anybody's willing to pay for. So today it's a couple of rewards of merit. And these are purchased by school keepers to give to children who are extraordinary in their performance during the school term. So not everybody gets one. It really is a prize. And because it was a prize, you prized it. So the press itself was built in New York in 1824. And right about there was 150 pounds of pressure per square inch going straight down. And all things considered, for a machine that's almost 200 years old, it's still doing a fairly adequate job.
Nice.
And you only got to do that 2,400 times a day, 6
Oh.
days a week, 310 days a year.
Quite impressive, I have to say.
We use very, very, very slow drying ink on purpose because I don't like it clean.
Yes, but think the other option, to manuscript.
Manuscript is all fine and good, but
It's much, much slower. You know, I have a friend which is writing Torah books by hand.
yeah,
And each book, it's $20,000-$30,000. It takes, I don't know how many months to write. Only the first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, up to Deuteronomy. It takes a lot of time and it costs.
yeah. I would take for granted, I shouldn't, but I do, that he's not using even paper. He's using vellum or parchment.
Yes.
And that technically is not paper. It's
No, it's not. It's
an animal skin.
It's animal skin of cow.
Yeah.
Cow or sheep.
Yeah.
Probably cow.
So there are people who still make a living. I had a gentleman who was a calligrapher, and he was looking for sheepskin. And I said, well, you can keep looking because where you are in Worcester County in 1838, there were 17 paper mills producing paper out of cotton and linen rags. So good quality paper in the modern world of 2022, but he's looking for animal skins.
Yes.
So good and bad and everything.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. It was very interesting.
Well, I hope you have some fun today.
Yes. It's a very interesting place. Okay, you know, because I came from Israel, and in Israel, something like this, it's quite new. Because I think from the Roman times and before Christ and the biblical times, but it's fascinating to see it here.
One of the things we forget, because it's easy to do, we're too young. History is what's happened to somebody yesterday.
Yes,
It's a very human experience.
exactly.
And unless somebody writes it down, you're not going to know about it.
No.
And you will wonder 50 years from now, why did they do that?
Okay. Thank you.
Have fun.
Enjoy.
That room is the composing room. That's the beginning and the end. So that's where we put together all our forms, and when we're done, distribute them back when it's clean.
Oh.
So it's from there you get the expression of uppercase and lowercase letters. Because in reality, that's a filing system. So capital letters live in the upper cases, common letters live in the lower cases.
Nice.
Not what they are, it's actually where
טוב.
they are.
פה הוא הסביר שזה מסרים את האותיות גדולות קטנות, ההכנה, התחלה. מעניין.
And the other one
And this one?
is for over-the-counter sales and bookbinding.
Nice. And the exit is there?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it a lot. לא תכננו, אבל נתן פה הצגה יפה. הצגה ממש יפה. בוא נראה את חדר הסדרים מהצד השני. טוב, סרטון ארוך, אבל היה שווה. אני מסכים. רגע, יש יוצאים מפה.